in your training with the Minneapolis Police Department over the years, have you received training on restraining people,
Yes.
including the use of handcuffs?
Yes.
And when you are handcuffing somebody, when you handcuff them, what is your responsibility as an officer with regard to that person?
Well,
Are you familiar with the use of force continuum?
yes.
Is that part of the Minneapolis Police Department use of force policy?
Yes, it is.
Can you just describe in general what that means to the jurors?
Yeah, so basically the use of force continuum is guidelines, or it's policy actually, that we have to follow. And it's when, for instance, when you arrive at a scene, no matter what the scene, the first level, the lowest level, would be just your presence at a scene in uniform. The next step up may be your verbal skills that you've learned to help diffuse a situation or learn information about whatever the situation is. The next step would be like a soft technique, escorting the person by their arm, that type of thing. The next level would be a hard technique. That's where you would use your, you maybe have to use your mace or handcuffs, that kind of thing. And finally, the top level on the continuum is deadly force.
And so those levels change, how, under what, or for what reasons might that change?
Yeah, well, if you're, say you arrive at a scene and somebody's pointing a gun at you or shooting at you, of course you go to the top level, and that's how they may change.
So it's relative to the threat.
Right, yes.
And are there different kinds of force that officers can use?
Yes.
And have you ever, in all the years you've been working for the Minneapolis Police Department, been trained to kneel on the neck of someone who is handcuffed behind their back in a prone position?
No, I haven't.
Is that, if that were done, would that be considered force?
Absolutely.
What level of force might that be?
That would be the top tier, the deadly force.
Why?
Because of the fact that if your knee is on a person's neck, that can kill him.
And in your training with the Minneapolis Police Department over the years, have you received training on restraining people?
Yes.
Including the use of handcuffs?
Yes.
And when you are handcuffing somebody, when you handcuff them, what is your responsibility as an officer with regard to that person?
Well, could I give you an example?
Okay. Well, let me ask you this again. If you, as an officer, according to the training, you handcuff somebody behind the back, what's your responsibility with regard to that person from that moment on?
That person is yours. He's your responsibility. His safety is your responsibility. His well-being and is your responsibility.
Once you handcuff somebody, does that affect the amount of force that you should consider using?
Absolutely.
How so?
Once a person is cuffed, the threat level goes down all the way, to they're cuffed. How can they really hurt you? You know,
Well, certainly there could be circumstances when a cuffed person could still be combative.
oh, absolutely, yeah, yeah. But you getting injured is way down.
What do you mean by that?
Well, you know, if you're, you could have some guy try to kick you or something, but you can move out of the way. That person is handcuffed, you know, and they, the threat level is just not there.